Would you not assume something like a C-section would be considered an?
Stay out of it.
Right.
Let these women, let them and their families and their doctors make these decisions.
Like Kamala.
I just think she has a good plan for our country.
What do you like best about her plan for America?
I understand that. I'm asking if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
A needle is inserted through the abdomen and into the fetal heart where lidocaine is injected, and that will completely numb the fetus so there's no pain. And then after that,
What concessions would be on the table? Religious exemptions, for example? Is that something that you would consider?
Let's take a look at some clips that put on full display just how evil the human heart can get, and comment on them along the way. The clips will progress in how disturbing they are, to a clip that is truly bone-chilling. But then we will end on one of the most famous Christians in America standing up against this evil. Here's Kamala Harris talking about protecting the supposed right to end the lives of preborn babies. But then watch her response to Christians who object to the things she is saying.
With the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
So a man yells, "Jesus is Lord," and Kamala's response is to basically laugh and say Christians like him are not welcome at her rally. Kamala may profess to be a Christian, but she is as far from true Christianity as even the most vehement anti-Christian. Although what this next anti-Christian woman says is absolutely jaw-dropping. Here's a clip from the Jubilee channel, where Ben Shapiro basically debates 25 pro-Kamala Harris students on the issue of abortion. And what this student says is truly disturbing.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, how are you?
How do you define
The forcible termination of an unborn human life.
Yes, but why do you hold that definition? Would you not assume something like a C-section would be considered an?
No, because the baby is born alive.
Is she trying to argue that ending the lives of preborn babies is the same as C-sections? I've honestly never heard that argument before.
What is the definition of include the death of a fetus?
Because that's literally the definition of a C-section ends with the birth of the child.
You could simply say that the ending of a pregnancy, right? So the ending of a pregnancy outside of the natural
you can't say that.
Birth. Because say if a woman is not able to pass a fetus in the natural way, we could have these other processes that would say she needs some type of induction that doesn't include the actual natural expulsion of a fetus. But it doesn't always end in the death. So
is this the kind of logic that college students like her are learning? No, you're not allowed to redefine a word that literally means ending the life of a preborn baby to not mean that. There is no world where that word just means
the ending of a pregnancy outside of the natural
you can't say that.
Birth of a fetus.
C-section and induction are completely different, completely unrelated concepts. Either she has absolutely no argument for her position, or she is just unbelievably unintelligent.
I just don't understand how you're removing the fetus from the equation about abortion. That's literally the entire moral issue. I mean, we could very easily solve this. Let's just not talk about the word abortion. Let's talk about the forcible termination of a baby.
So then what do you value in the fetus then?
The life of the fetus.
Because of conception?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because that is literally the biological definition of when an independent life begins.
Yes, but why does it have moral value?
It has moral value because that's literally the biological definition of when a human life begins.
Ben is saying that human life begins at conception. And the woman is asking why human life in the womb has value. Maybe because human life in general has value? It's hard to believe I'm actually hearing this.
Right, but why does that have moral value though?
Okay, why does any life have moral value?
I would value sentience.
If somebody's in a coma and you know they're going to wake up, do you have the right to unplug them?
Well, coma's not brain death though. We know that there's future sentience there.
I agree, and guess what? Fetuses also have guaranteed future sentience.
Well, no, because you're only valuing one half of the conjunct. So it would be past, present, or future.
Now you're changing the topic. I mean, we started with what's the value of the fetus.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
There's absolutely no question who won that exchange. The woman tried to redefine the topic of discussion to mean the same thing as C-sections and inductions. She tried to argue that some human life have no value. And she tried to argue arbitrarily that humans only have value if there is both past and future sentience. That's awfully convenient if you're trying to dehumanize and end the lives of one particular group of human life. But the evil arguments don't end here. Here's John Legend on the popular podcast Club Shay Shay, making his argument for why it should be legal to end the lives of preborn babies.
People that have an abortion after 15 weeks, almost always, they wanted to keep the baby. But there's some kind of complication that came up that they have to have an abortion. So my wife, she was well past 15 weeks when she had to have an abortion. She was miscarrying, and bleeding out, and all these things were happening.
Her life was in danger.
Her life was in danger. And for the government to say, oh, we need to evaluate this to make sure you're sufficiently dying before you can have an abortion.
Notice that John doesn't say anything about the baby here. He doesn't say, we need to evaluate this to make sure you're sufficiently dying before we can end the life of the baby. Why? Does he think some human lives are more valuable than other human lives? I understand how difficult it is to go through something like that, but we do need to keep in mind that there are 2 lives at stake here, not just 1.
That's what they're saying in Texas and in Georgia and in all these states where they have Trump abortion bans. They're saying the government needs to evaluate whether you are sufficiently dying before you can have not your doctor, not you and your family, the government. No, stay out of it. Let these women, let them and their families and their doctors make these decisions. We don't need the government to be involved in it. And if the government's involved, that means the police and the district attorney are involved in medical decisions. That's crazy. It's crazy.
I agree.
But this is not just a medical decision we're talking about. We're talking about a human life, and the government, the police, and the district attorney are very relevant when it comes to cases when people unjustifiably end the lives of other human beings. The government has a duty to protect human life, not to allow it or even to promote it, as this government often does.
Overturning Roe versus Wade, Trump wants to claim credit for it, but at the same time be like, I just put it with the states. Oh no, you put it with the states of Texas, states of Georgia,
states,
of Alabama, of, you know, you put it with these states. And by the way, that's where most black women live, in the South.
Southern states.
In the South. So that means the majority of black women are in regimes that would rather possibly let them die before giving them the life-saving treatment that they need. When we went through all these fertility struggles and then had a miscarriage, it made it even more clear to me how personal everything that happens in that room with your OBGYN, everything that happens in that room is private. And it's so intensely personal and intensely physical. A woman feels every aspect of this thing.
Again, I understand how difficult it is to go through something like this, but at the same time, I'm noticing that John has absolutely nothing to say about the human life of the baby. Does that life not matter at all in a context like this? There's something very disturbing and evil about what John is completely leaving out of this discussion.
John, when you have to console your wife because you know how bad she wanted this child. What are you saying? How do you, like Chris says, I'm sorry. There's not enough I'm sorry.
There's not enough. And the thing you got to realize is you're not going to solve the problem in that moment. And, you know, I'm a person that likes to solve the problem. Like, I'm very like, I want to solve it. I want to fix it. And sometimes you got to realize you can't fix it. You're just going to have to live in it for a while and you're going to get through it, but you can't fix it all of a sudden. There's no magical words you can say to fix it, but you need to be there. You need to be supportive. And you need to work together to get through it.
I completely agree that there's no easy answer for a situation like this. At the same time, though, one very important part of the conversation should be regard for the life of the human baby in the womb. We can't just ignore that human life or see it as disposable for what everyone else in the room wants. John completely ignoring the life of the baby is disturbing, but countless college students are being taught this exact same thing. Listen to the kind of reasoning that is rampant on college campuses. This is what countless college students think is the most important thing in their lives.
Honestly, just like, honestly, everything about her.
You just love her. She's
no, I don't love. I don't need to love any like president necessarily, but I support her.
You're with Kamala, though.
I am.
All right. Do you plan on voting in the presidential election?
Yeah, I already voted.
You already voted? Who did you vote for?
Kamala.
Why do you like Kamala?
I just think she has a good plan for our country.
What do you like best about her plan for America?
Well, reproductive rights for women, for starters.
The first thing that comes to mind is the ability to end the lives of preborn babies, and we're about to see a lot more of this.
Do you know who you're voting for?
No.
You don't know who you're going to vote for yet? What are the issues that might change your mind? Like economy, some people talk about economy, they talk about the border, some people talk about abortion. You think abortion will have one issue?
It seems like she doesn't really know anything about any other issue, but all she knows is she wants to be able to end the lives of preborn babies. This is pretty scary stuff.
Who are you guys going to be voting for?
Harris.
Or both of you?
Yes.
And why do you like Harris?
I just like what she stands for. I like her as a person. She has personality. She's nice, and she believes that the majority of people should have rights, which is nice.
Are there rights that people are being denied that she's going to give them?
I mean, it's treatment, it's involvement in the military, trans people, Trump took them out of the military. There was just treatment of people, health care for women.
Are you going to be voting in the presidential election?
Yes, I am.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Where is this going to be posted?
On my channel. I host a political talk show.
I'll probably be voting for Kamala.
Kamala? And what do you like about Kamala?
I just feel like she's overall a lot more respectful of different groups within America.
Except for Christians who believe the Bible, though. She's very respectful towards the community, of course, which is working really hard to force Christians to abandon pretty much everything they believe in.
Who do you plan on voting for?
Kamala Harris.
What about you?
Sure.
Not sure, still undecided?
Still undecided.
And why do you like Kamala?
My family's just Democratic, and I'm from the North, so.
Okay. So you're just doing what your family has done for years?
Like, kinda, but also, like, personal views.
What views of Kamala's do you like?
Probably, like, policy views.
Any other issues that are key for you?
Not really.
Just a main issue?
Yeah.
No other key issues. She just wants it to be legal to end the lives of preborn babies. That's literally the only issue she cares about. It's getting pretty dystopian on these college campuses.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Kamala.
Why do you like Kamala?
Kamala.
Kamala, I'm sorry. Get it right.
We like her stances and views.
Like, which ones do you like the most?
The stances just on welfare in general. I don't think that Trump is really looking out for that as much.
So your big issues are like welfare, abortion?
Yes, more social issues. Although I do think her approach to like the economic state and stuff is better also.
Do you like her economy policies better?
Yeah.
Do you think the economy has been better with the Biden-Harris administration or the first Trump administration?
Biden-Harris. I think
Biden-Harris.
even if people said it wasn't better under the Biden-Harris administration, it was because of the policies Trump had set before.
So it was Trump's fault?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, the first thing she mentions is being able to end the lives of preborn babies. It's the most important thing to her. A lot of the comments under this video are about women having the right to control their own bodies. And the most disturbing thing about all of this is the utter disregard for the life of the human baby. The fact that a human baby's life is being destroyed isn't even a small part of the equation for these college students. But this next video clip highlights even more just how evil this ideology is. This is a woman testifying about her bill and just how late it would still be legal to end preborn human life.
Delegate Tran.
Yes, sir.
How late in a pregnancy would your bill apply if a physician was simply willing to certify that the continuation of the pregnancy would impair the mental health of the woman? How late are we talking about?
Well, so the way the suggestion that we've made in the bill is to say it's in the third trimester and at the, with the certification of the physician. So
how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
It's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses, were not able to attend today to speak specifically.
No, I'm talking about your bill. How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay, but to the end of the third trimester.
Yep, I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
So, where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth, she has physical signs that she is about to give a birth, would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would make.
I understand that. I'm asking
point.
if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
Notice how hard she tries to avoid answering the question. probably because she knows just how evil her answer sounds. But when pressed, she admits that she is perfectly happy with ending the life of a baby who is just moments away from being born. It's hard to think of anything more evil, but this next phone call actually puts this evil on full display. This is a woman calling an facility to request ending the life of a preborn baby at 34 weeks. Keep in mind that this is past the point of viability, meaning a baby at this age can survive outside the womb. I'm pretty sure she's calling to expose the lie that these kinds of late never or rarely happen.
All right, calling the Care Clinic in Bethesda, Maryland.
Thank you for calling Care. How can I help you?
I'm looking to have an abortion.
How far along are you?
I'm 34 right now. I am in a pretty desperate situation. My boyfriend is kind of out of the picture now, so I don't really have any support.
An abortion at any stage is actually much safer than delivering a term pregnancy. It's a 4 to 5 day procedure. We do some basic lab work on you and start to dilate your cervix. After that, we do what we call the fetal injection. A needle is inserted through the abdomen and into the fetal heart where lidocaine is injected, and that will completely numb the fetus so there's no pain. And then after that, we inject a medication called digoxin and another medication called KCL into the fetal heart, which will slow and then stop the fetal heartbeat. And then on that 4th day, depending on how your cervix is dilated, we'll break your water, and then we'll give you a medication called misoprostol. Misoprostol will sort of induce contraction and increase the dilation of your cervix. You're going to have contractions and cramping, and then we'll assist you in sort of pushing in the induction and then remove all of the products of conception. You're definitely going to feel discomfort and cramping and a lot of pressure, but we do give you fentanyl and Versed during the procedure. We specialize in later trimester care. Our doctor is very well versed in what he's doing, and he's very good.
So I'm not like a rare situation. Y'all help women this late in pregnancy all the time?
All the time.
Did you notice how horrified the woman looked when the other woman was describing the procedure to end the preborn life? This is not just a simple or quick procedure. No, it's a procedure where numerous steps are taken to actively end the life of the human baby in the womb, and it's horrifying. And not only that, but the woman said that this kind of late-term procedure even happens very often, quote-unquote, all the time. But there is one more video clip that represents pure evil and tyranny, which we will look at next. Here's what Kamala Harris had to say if her plan would allow for any kind of religious exemption concerning this issue.
What concessions would be on the table? Religious exemptions, for example? Is that something that you would consider?
I don't think we should be making concessions when we're talking about a fundamental freedom to make decisions about your own body.
This is literally a promise to persecute Christians and to force them to perform procedures that are both evil and opposed to their beliefs and conscience. This is the kind of evil that people like Kamala Harris want to impose on all Christians, whom she basically views as her enemy. But there is hope. God is in control, and he calls on Christians to fight against this evil. Here's a video of one particularly famous Christian who is standing up against this brazen rebellion against God. Tony Dungy is a former NFL head coach, known for leading the Indianapolis Colts to a Super Bowl victory in 2007 and being the first black head coach to win a Super Bowl. He has also been boldly and unashamedly standing up against Kamala's evil policies and fighting for the lives of preborn babies.
This November, Florida voters will be choosing yes or no on Amendment 4, which has been labeled the Right to Initiative. I urge you to read this amendment very carefully before you vote. I'm convinced if you read it carefully, you will join me in voting no. Amendment 4 was strategically written to be vague and deceptive, giving voters little information about its sweeping impact. Amendment 4 begins this way: no law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion for viability. But it never states when that is. When is a fetus viable? Is it 12 weeks, 24 weeks, 36 weeks? It doesn't say. Under Amendment 4, viability is not defined in law or determined by doctors, but decided by healthcare providers, which could include employees of abortion clinics who are not doctors. The bottom line is, if Amendment 4 passes, there would be no time limit allowing for late-term abortion when science says that the baby can feel pain. The next thing Amendment 4 says is that even when a baby is viable, would still be allowed to protect the patient's health. But what kind of health? Physical health, mental health, emotional health? And how serious must that health concern be? Again, it doesn't say, but allows the same healthcare providers at a clinics to make that determination. And while Amendment 4 says that it leaves in place laws that require parental notification, it fails to inform voters that it overturns Florida's law that requires parental consent, making abortion the only medical procedure that can be performed on a minor without the parent's permission. In 2022, in my home state of Michigan, voters approved a similar amendment written by the same lawyers who wrote Amendment 4. Now those lawyers are using that amendment to sue the state of Michigan to force taxpayers to fund elective abortions. The same could easily happen here if Amendment 4 passes. I believe that all mothers deserve health care and protection. Florida's current laws provide exceptions to allow abortion in cases of or to protect the health and life of the mother. But I also believe that all babies in the womb are actual lives in God's eyes, and those babies deserve protection too. I'm asking every Florida voter to read Amendment 4 carefully and don't be deceived by the vague language. We can protect the health of mothers and protect the lives of babies with a better solution that doesn't have so many loopholes and uncertainties. Never before have we been asked to vote on something that is literally a matter of life and death. But that is what Amendment 4 comes down to. Please join me in defending life by voting no on Amendment 4.
I'm glad there are Christians like Tony Dungy who are speaking out publicly against this great evil happening in our country. In the end, there will be perfect justice according to God's perfect wisdom. Everyone who promotes and celebrates this kind of evil, who do not repent of this sin and turn to faith in Jesus Christ, will experience the full judgment and wrath of God.
32 says the insanity is so severe that though they know the ordinance of God, how do they know it? Because it's built into the fabric of their humanity. The law of God is written in the heart. And in our case, they've had the Bible. And even though they know the ordinance of God, that those who practice such things are worthy of death, they not only do the same, but give hearty approval to those who practice them. They make them legal. Why are we where we are? Because we're under this wrath.
Hi, my name is Mike. I'm a deacon, a husband, a father, a software engineer, and an amateur maker of videos. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help me in my mission to spread biblical truth, just subscribe and watch these videos until the end, which will help the YouTube algorithm recommend these videos to more people. I'm committed to using the skills and gifts God has given me to glorify Him and communicate biblical truth. And I would be so grateful if you would come be a part of what I'm building. You can visit my website at joyfulexile.com to learn more about me and what I'm working on. I hope you're having a blessed day. I will see you in the next video, and remember, this world is not our home.